Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. So in this video, we are going to discuss Geeks problem of the day, and today's problem is determinant of a matrix, and it is an easy level problem. So the very first thing, I read determinants after a very long time. So I actually had to watch a YouTube video on how to calculate the determinants, and after that I came back to this problem. And also I don't feel that it should be an easy level problem. Just because it has a slight implementation, it can be put into the medium category, right? So let us first understand how we can actually calculate determinants. After that, this problem would be quite simple to understand. So let's say we have a square matrix of n is equals to 1, right? So we will have only one element like this. The determinant of this particular matrix is A itself. Now let's say we have a value n is equals to 2. So what will be the determinant? Let us first draw the matrix. So we write the elements A, B, C and D. Right. Now I am going to write all the elements of the zeroth row. So that is A and minus B. Now I am going to take sub matrices from the lower half of this particular matrix, and whenever I am talking about A, I am going to ignore all the elements that are in the same column as A. So the only element remaining is D, right? So that is why I write A into D, right? Actually it should be determinant of D, but since determinant of D is D itself, so I'm just directly writing it A into D. Similarly for B, the only other element that is not in the same column as B is C here, right? So I'm going to write B into C. So this will be the final value of the determinant for a matrix of size 2 cross 2. Now let us talk about the square matrix of size 3 cross 3. So from here on you will be able to understand the general pattern what is happening. ABC, DEF and GHI. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write the elements of the zeroth row. So A minus B and then C. Remember, I have to write all these elements in alternating signs. So the first element is positive, then negative, then positive again. Right. Now I take the sub matrix from the lower half, ignoring the zeroth row, and I'm going to multiply A by the determinant of something. Now this something should come from this lower half, and all the elements that are not in the same column as A should be included, right? So in this particular case for A, D and G should be excluded and the remaining elements are E, F and H and I, right? Similarly for B, what you'll do, for B we are going to ignore E and H, right, because they are in the same column as B. So the remaining elements are D, F, G and I. Similarly for C, we are going to ignore all the remaining elements in the same column as C, that is F and I, and we are going to write D, E, G and H, right. So these are all the elements that we know of. Now this value, whatever this computes to, will be our final determinant of the current matrix. Now you can apply the same formula to bigger matrices as well, and let me just recall the whole formula. So what you'll have to do is, first of all, you can just write all the elements of the zeroth column. Now zeroth row actually. So now starting from the first row going till the n minus 1th row, you have to take all the elements in some form of determinants. How do we actually write those elements? So for the element A, we are going to multiply it by a sum matrix which starts from row 1, goes till row n minus 1 and does not have the elements which are in the same column as A. Right. Similarly for B, we are going to ignore all the elements which are in the same column as B. Similarly for C, we are going to ignore all the elements which are in the same column as C. Right. This is exactly what I have written here. And now you can try to convert this formula into code. Right. So let us see how I have done it. So what I have actually done is I have taken a base case. If n is equals to 1, I can just directly return matrix of 0, 0. Right. Now I initialize my answer with 0 and I am going through all the columns of the 0th row. Right. So this loop is going through the columns. Now what I am just going to do, I am going to initialize a second matrix which are going to be the sub matrices for each of these columns. Right. Now this particular for loop will go through all the rows. Right. So let me write it in comments also. So traverse all columns of 0th row, right? Now this particular second loop is going to be traverse all rows of second matrix, right? Now I have this particular for loop for rows, so I also need to have for loop for columns traverse all columns for of second matrix. So basically I am trying to build this second matrix. Now I have initialized my x with 0, it is actually going to traverse through the columns, right? So now what I do, since I have to write all the rows from j is equals to 1 till less than n, I am making this loop, and since like the dimensions of the second matrix are n minus 1 cross n minus 1, I have to do j minus 1 here. Because I am starting j from 1 here, the row from 1 here, but in the second matrix, the row should start from 0. That is why I have done j minus 1 here. Now, this k for loop is going to traverse through all the columns, and I have to skip the column where k is equals to I, right? So, I do this particular thing is equals to matrix of jk, where j is denoting the row and k is denoting the column. Now, as I have already explained why I have written j minus 1 here, for the same reason I have written x here, because this x will be taking care of the current column in the second matrix, right? So these j and k are actually for traversing through the current matrix, and I have to translate those coordinates accordingly into my second matrix. Now once I have done all of this, I can add something to my answer. What is this something? First of all, I am taking the current element, that is matrix of 0i, and multiplying it by determinant of matrix. This is the same function that we have here, and I am passing the second matrix and dimensions n minus 1, right? Now I am also multiplying it with something, and that something is plus 1 or minus 1. How do I determine it? Whenever I is odd, I am multiplying it with minus 1, otherwise I am multiplying it with plus 1. So why I is odd? So you see that A here is at 0th position, B here it has 1th position, and C here is at 2th position. So whenever the value of I is odd, the sign is negative. So whenever I is odd, I am multiplying it with minus 1. Now depending upon this particular expression, this whole expression will become plus or minus, and that will get added accordingly to the answer variable. Now I can just add on my answer variable, and this will be my final solution. So let me just quickly submit this and show you that this particular code works and the solution is absolutely correct. So you see, it passes all the test cases and the solution is correct. I hope that you guys were able to understand the solution. If you guys did, then consider dropping a like on this video, and don't forget to share thoughts in the comments, because your engagement with this particular video really helps the YouTube algorithm to understand that this video is actually helpful for you, and it will be able to reach much more people like you who want to keep solving new problems. So that is it for today. Till the next video drops, keep coding, stay safe, bye bye.